Hello, this is Gilgamesh. I want to talk about something. Um, like the whole thing with, you know, what I want to talk about is something I've tried looking up is can people hear God's voice? I do think that's possible, and I'll explain with my situation with that I believe, you know, that I've talked to God. And so, well, we have to go back. I've talked about my life, but I'm going to go through. See, my mom was pregnant before me, and she had a miscarriage, and the doctors told her getting pregnant would. They didn't just advise against it; they said because of her health, it could kill her to have another kid. So they really didn't think she should get pregnant. But then she got pregnant, and I came into the world in 1971. And born in Brooklyn, New York. And so my parents considered me a miracle. I was born, I think, premature, and I was small. I mean, for a baby. And I had what's called fetal alcoholism. That's where you can, like, if you look at my head, you can see it's not round. It's got sort of a, like this, sort of a point in the middle here. This is also part of what the fetal alcohol syndrome from when your mother drinks when she's pregnant. So I have sort of a deformed skull. Doesn't bother me. I'm used to it. So we moved from there to Portland because she was like, yeah, New York's dangerous. So I'm going to skip over, I'm not going to know exactly, but that winter we moved to Portland where we lived. It was originally designed, the city built it for the military after World War II, but they didn't want them, so it became the projects. And we're the white family moved into this area, and people were like, who are these bunch of white crackers? I know that's what they were thinking. But we were poor, they were poor. And in the winter, we had a bad winter. I mean, it was icy, it was cold, like one of the coldest winters. And my daddy goes to the liquor store. I don't know why he took me with him, but put me in the front seat. Gets there, fine. Gets what he needs because he's an alcoholic, so he needed to get his drink. Gets out, hits ice, spins, hits the back of the car. I go through front windshield, back windshield, and from what I understand now, I survived. And apparently I was in a coma because somehow you know, yeah. And at one point, I'm not sure which one came first. I either got a hammer in my head. I still have the scar, like, on my head. I can't see it right here, but yeah. I have a scar from it. It's like right here, I think, where it's on. I think it's this side. Because I remember the handle was sticking this way. So it's over here from when the hammer went in my head and I didn't even feel it go in. Yep. And I didn't scream or anything. I was like pain, one of those things I didn't scream about. But yeah, and what happened was I came home from school. This kid is in our apartment because we lived in a duplex. Manager, us, and then they had the big 6 apartments, sort of one of those 2-story, and then you had 2 more apartments, playground in the middle. This is the way it was set up. So I come in, this kid's in there, and I go, what are you doing? My parents are next door. So he runs out, he grabbed a hammer, so I chase after him. He's climbing this fence, and I told him, drop the hammer, or I'm going to climb this fence and kick your ass. So he dropped the hammer, and I'm looking around, I'm like, where's the hammer? And then my hand, I didn't know what blood was at the time. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I go, and I run to it, and I'm like, oh, there's the hammer. It's in my head. Handle sticking this way. So I go next door, and I knock on the door. And I'm not screaming. I didn't feel it go in. So, and the door opens. My dad's sitting there. The manager's sitting there. My mom's freaking out. And yeah, hammer. Yeah, and my dad drives to the emergency room. My mom, I'm laying on her with my head up, and she's got a towel. We get there, and I tell you, the staff were like, "That's a hammer in his head." And when one of the doctors touched it, I went, "Touch it again, I'll pull it out and beat you to death with it." I was a foul-mouthed little kid, and so they had to strap me to the bed in the operating room. No painkillers, no anesthesia, fully awake to have them take it. Now I know what a scalpel is. Cut around to get the skin out of the way, and then they took a saw and went around it. Took the hammer, the skull part that they cut around. I don't know how they got around the handle, but they took it and got the hammer out, and apparently it did no damage. I don't know how it didn't kill me, but then I couldn't go out for about a month. I had to stay home, so I missed school, and I was like in kindergarten at the time. And so I had to stay home with my mom, and she loved to smoke a lot and drink, and she constantly ended up in the hospital due to smoking almost like a pack a day, it seemed like. She was a heavy smoker for a very small woman. My dad went to prison at one point, and then my mom took me to visit him and see him in the Oregon State Prison. Yeah, wonderful place to take your kid. And I think that was when I was much younger. But, because he apparently got caught writing bad checks or stealing checks or something. I'm not sure exactly what happened. One point we get removed. I find out later, the couple me and my little brother went to live with were our aunt and uncle. Old. We're talking old people. I'm sleeping in a crib. Yeah. I couldn't tell you how old it was. Slept in a crib and almost lost part of my ear because the old guy was cutting my hair and almost cut my ear off. His wife stopped him, caught him, and stopped him. One thing they made me do was read the damn Bible and recite it back to him. Wonderful times. I'm going to sort of jump all over. Yeah, first thing then I got the first time I got molested, I think, was my sister's friend we were in a tree fort, and my brother, my sister, and I think my younger brother left, and she stayed behind. I now know what she was doing, but I don't know why she did it. I had it confused, like she pulled my pants down, proceeded to put my penis in her mouth. I don't know why. Preteen boy, felt nothing. I'm looking at her going, what the hell is she doing? And eventually she realized nothing was going to happen, so she gave up. I sort of laugh at that, but it's like, yeah, I'm a little kid going, what the hell's going on? Then I got stung by a nest wasp because I was like, what is that? And I threw a rock and stupidly opened my mouth. One went in my stomach. It was gone. Dissolved. The other two were in my throat, stinging me over and over. Get to the hospital. They pull them out. Yeah, I didn't scream in pain. I sort of went like this, couldn't talk to them. And they were like, they could see them in my throat. And they, literally pulling these things out, these two wasps or hornets. Yeah. No wonder I freak out when I see these things fly with the long legs. I'm like, oh, creepy as shit. Like I said, I don't know if this was before or after. I got bit all over my front and back. I had black widows. I found out it was a black widow because somebody goes, that's a black widow, because it was still biting me, and all I said was, it's biting me. They wouldn't touch it. Took me to the hospital, and I was covered. My whole back, my front was covered in black widow bites, and the thing was still alive. So, if they're lethal, it didn't kill me. I'm like, So, then we get removed by the police, and we go and put in foster care. A couple that took us all in, kept us all together. They adopted us, and at one point, I got my sister threw a solid pepper shaker because I grabbed a knife, and I don't know why, but I went after my older brother. I can't tell you why. And I was literally going to kill him. I couldn't tell you why. And she threw it to stop me. I lied and said I fell down the stairs. My mother was like, she knew I didn't. And I told her, she goes, I'm not taking the hospital since you lied to me. But it healed. I don't have a scar from it. And this kid, where we lived, if you've ever seen the swing sets, the ones with the ladder and the slide, well, he took the ladder part off and he jammed it into below my knee on one of my legs, and I had walked home, hobbled home, and basically didn't scream. I never seem to scream when I'm in pain. I'm weird that way. So then a family member for a couple of years, molested me. And then, of course, I go to a group home where, well, in this group home, I told what this family member did, and then I come home and I asked my parents, hey, what happened to all my toys and everything? And they go, well, we gave all your stuff away. I had He-Man, I had Transformers, I had all that stuff. And I said, and I talked to my dad, and when I mentioned it, he goes, yeah, that was really weird, because I didn't act like any other kid. I said, oh, okay, it's your stuff, you do what you want with it. They were surprised. It really surprised them that I didn't get upset. I just didn't have that in me to go, oh my God. Because maybe it's because I really never expected anything in life, coming from being poor white shit and from 2 alcoholic parents, that anything I got, I knew it wasn't mine. I never felt like it was ever mine. That's why I didn't get upset. Because I didn't have, yeah, we got an allowance and everything, but the thing was, it never felt like I owned the stuff. And so that's why it didn't upset me. And then later, I go into this place for kids with troubled children. And while I'm there, I get braces and I get a retainer, my teeth, see? And because when I was young, I sucked these 2 fingers to the point that I had real severe buck teeth. I'm not joking. To the point that after I got braces, I'd have teeth removed, that these were over these teeth. The problem was when the orthodontist put the braces on, he tied them so tight that these teeth here are kind of pushed inward, so they're not straight. So when the braces were off and the teeth here, I lost some gum here. They're pushed back here. I have a roof, so I had to go through and learn how to speak again. Because of this roof, I had trouble speaking. And they tried everything to get me to quit sucking my fingers. I couldn't tell you why I did it. They put hot sauce on it, I just went, I think it was these 2. Yeah, why my brothers would suck their thumbs. Also, there was a point where my 2 brothers caught chickenpox. This is when we first moved in, and I didn't catch it. And I never, and they tried everything. They had me take baths with them. I could not get chickenpox. So I was like, okay. And the doctor said apparently I was one of the rare people that couldn't get chickenpox. So I've never experienced chickenpox. And apparently you have to have chickenpox to get shingles. So I'm lucky in that way. So I had apparently a natural immunity to chickenpox. But I also, as a kid, caught lice because we had to shave my head as a kid. Because that was the one, I remember lice. It was real bad. A lot of kids caught lice. And it was, shave the head. Because they were using the whole thing to get rid of them. And the easy way to get rid of it was to shave the head and then use the treatment. So that was real fun, having a shaved head and everything. Then you had to basically wash everything and, disinfect and make sure that, because head lice is another name for cooties. Yeah. And so there's that. And then while I was at this facility, we go camping, and while I'm sleeping, I'm a heavy sleeper, so it takes a lot to wake me up. I find out later this guy came in my tent and he molested me. And when I found out, I wanted to kill him. Well, it turns out I don't know how they missed this. He was an adult posing as a teenager, because this was a place only for teenagers. And so I say this, I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. You ever hear of someone who went through sexual abuse ever called themselves a victim. Only people who didn't will always say, I'm a victim of sexual abuse. No. It's the same thing with like a Holocaust survivor. They never call themselves a victim. They always say, I'm a survivor. People that didn't will always like, you hear, and I'll get back to this whole, so, yeah, and then I graduated high school in 91. I was 21, so I went into Job Corps, and I took TV cable, which was you climb poles, gaffed. But the thing was, I had heard horror stories about people getting bit by brown with loose spiders, but that wasn't the worst part. Turns out I was terrified of heights, and we were told the horrors of people who gaffed and they'd fall. Don't wrap your arms around it. Just grab yeah. And people breaking their legs, and eventually, when I went up there, I got terrified. It happened. Yeah, apparently I didn't know I was afraid of heights. It was so bad that when I went to Italy and we were climbing, in these small towns, you can climb this up to the highest part, like tower, clock tower, or whatever. I couldn't get up very high. I literally stopped walking. It was that bad. I had to slowly walk down. Yeah. And I never went to the top to see what the whole town looked like because of my fear of heights. But while I was there, I find out later, wake up in the hospital, and I'm like, I said, what happened? And they said, well, you got stung by a bee and died on the way. You were dead for 30 minutes. I said, what? He goes, yeah, you died. And then as soon as they rolled you in, you started breathing. I was like, and then funny thing was, I started remember I had a dream about all I remember was having a dream about being chased by a giant spider. One of the, like, not a tarantula, but the ones with long legs. You see a lot in horror movies, creepy as hell. Yeah, so I didn't know, and then somebody else mentioned I couldn't remember what they said, what happened to them, but they said they had, something happened, they ended up dying on the way to the hospital. I didn't say anything to anybody. I was like, okay, that's strange. So, yeah. And then I got out of there, and I worked as a janitor, met a woman who, at the work, we went out, and then we went back to her place, and I'll just say this. It's strange when a woman says, and I hate touching feet. I'll tell you right now, I've said this in the video, I hate touching women's feet. So, we go out, gorgeous woman, by the way. I would have been like, yes, and I was way good. I was good looking when I was younger. When I was in my early 20s. I'm not that good looking now. This is what happens when you don't take care of yourself. Oh, let me go back a little bit. To one point in my life that sort of made me I regret what I do, but I think I know why I started smoking, was on my birthday. My parents got Twilight Zone the movie, and this was on VHS. No, it was on Beta, because Beta was the thing before VHS. And so, and it's the one where you have in it, John Landis directed this story with Vic Morrow, Jennifer Jason Leigh's father. He died while making the movie. Well, in the original, when I watch it, you actually get to see the unfortunate accident that killed Vic Morrow and these two kids. And it was in there. It's not there anymore. So while I'm, enjoying my birthday, all of a sudden my mom comes screaming and says, your dad almost cut his foot off with a chainsaw. I was like, what? He didn't scream. He was not panicking, she was. They get him to the hospital, they reattach his foot. He had basically where your big toe is. He cut that chainsaw, bounced off and went through his shoe, almost slicing his whole foot off, except for his big toe. Right between the big toe, on your foot and the next toe, that's where it went through. So they reattached it, he comes back. Apparently he didn't. And I was like, oh, that reminded me of me. So I was like, oh. I started looking at it, I had a different image of him. And I was like, wow, he didn't complain once about him almost cutting his foot off. So I said, I want to be like him. So he smoked. He smoked filterless Camels. And so one day I went into their bedroom, found him, I started smoking. He found out. Ooh. He said, "You're gonna smoke these cigarettes." Oh, he made me smoke them, and I didn't like it. And I was like coughing and everything. And he goes, "You're gonna finish this whole carton." So that didn't deter me from smoking. I wanted to smoke more when I got older in my 20s. Stupid me. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, go out this with this, I'll move forward. Later, I have an older sister, and by the way, I was baptized Catholic, so I'm named after one of the apostles. So is my older brother. My sister's name, you add a part to it, and I was like, oh, okay. So I hadn't heard from him. Then I get a call out of the blue, and it's, oh, I'm gonna get married. I want you to come to my wedding in Italy. That's where the whole climbing up, yeah. And get off the phone, and she apparently sent, and I got really depressed because every time she calls, my life goes, everything about me goes to shit. And at this point, I was on where I was living. I was on disability because I lost my job, and I was a miserable wreck. I found out I was bipolar, so I was on a bunch of medications. I thought I was also schizoaffective because I'll talk to myself like I'm doing here, and so I wanted to kill myself. So I went to a friend. I didn't tell him this. I borrowed his snub nose revolver, and he gave me two. We went. It worked. It fired it. I love that damn revolver. It was fun firing it. Yeah, I knew how to load it and everything, and it was loaded. We were 2 boxes of ammo because I said I wanted to have fun shooting at this range, and I used his membership. I said, and so what I didn't tell him was I was going to kill myself. So I get a knife sharpened. I get all the chemicals I have, which is laundry soap, dish soap, Drano, floor cleaner. I mix them in a bottle, make sure it's really liquidy. I take all my pills, pop them in, and I drink this whole bottle. Big mistake. All it did was give me diarrhea, and it was bad. Yeah, so that didn't kill me. Poisoning myself did not kill me. Then I tried to hang myself. Couldn't hang myself. I'm literally like, I did a great job setting it up, put it around, wouldn't hang it. So I put a plastic bag over my head and do it. Could not suffocate myself, could not hang myself. Then I tried to suffocate myself. Nope, couldn't do it. Wouldn't. And I'm like, okay, this is not happening. Then I take the knife, I go like this. It would not cut me. I had this history of, I wouldn't cut through my skin like a lot of cutters, but I would, every time I was in, to make the pain of things I'd gone through, I would take like a butter knife and just move it over, not to bleed or anything. And I leave scratches on my arm, and I just play it off as I was doing this. Or the cats were, scratched me. So I couldn't cut my wrist, so I take the revolver. It's 6 rounds. I go cock the hammer back, because you gotta do that the first time. I go, pull the trigger, wouldn't fire. I said, what the hell is going on? So I went through the 2 boxes every time. Cock, boom, it wouldn't fire. So I said, okay, something's not right. This should not be happening. So then I go back to the, first I go to this facility to find, because I'm still depressed. So I go there, and that night some lady tried to throw herself out of a window. When I left after being there a couple of days, it was an urgent care place. It was a place for people that, felt like they were suicidal or they were having issues with mental health. Place doesn't exist anymore. It got shut down because after the 2 people, when I left, a guy tried to kill himself out the same window. I went home. I was like, and I basically, because I couldn't kill myself, I realized I had cured my own depression, because I don't get depressed anymore. And so I went back to the fire range. Damn thing fired. And I took it back to a friend and said, thanks for letting me borrow this. And I'm like, makes no sense. I can't, what the hell? And then suddenly I hear this voice. And I go, I'm not schizophrenic, so I'm not hearing he goes, it said, do you know why you couldn't kill yourself? And I go, what? It said, who are you? And he goes, well, do you know why you couldn't kill yourself? I said, no. And he goes, because I wouldn't let you. I go, what? Who are you? And he goes, well, you know that bee that killed you when you were in, I go, Jock? I go, yeah. He goes, well, I did that to you. I go, what are you, God? And he goes, yes. I go, no. And so I said, why would you kill me? And he goes, well, the joke is I can kill you, but you can't kill yourself. And I said, why do you want me here? I don't want to be here. This place sucks. And he said, well, because you're going to, this is what I heard. And he said, yeah, I want you to watch humanity, see what they do. He goes, don't you do that? He goes, well, because, well, that's why I have people like, other people do this. I'm like, well, you have people watch to see how you use them to see how things, I was like, oh, that doesn't sound like fun. So I said, okay, I need more proof. This is not making any sense. This is what I'm thinking. So I asked him, okay, and I said, if you're really God, why have I never when I got the hammer in my head, or any of these things happened, did I ever scream? And he said, because you're different than most people. I go, well, yeah, I guess I would. I didn't get chicken pox. I did, died and came back from the dead. I've had a hammer in my head and survived that. No anesthesia, no painkiller. I'm like, yeah, I guess I am different. Because, well, didn't your parents say you were a miracle? I said, yeah. They always thought I was. Well, there you go. I don't consider myself. I'm like, yeah. Oh, okay. I'm sort of laughing at this and, then I go, okay, let me ask you. And I said, I want to know something. The Bible is, now, the Noah's Ark story, did that go down exactly the way it says in the Bible? Because I heard that, I saw something about how scientists figured out where, based on science, that there's no way the story went the way it went in the Bible. That the time that Noah existed, they would have had something called a deluge, which would have been a local flood. And I watched that program and he said, yeah, that the Bible's, these stories are written after the events, that they're usually exaggerated. Because would anybody pay attention to Noah's Ark if it was, a man and his family survived a local flood? No. So they embellished. All stories are a bit embellished about everything. It's like, okay. What? Now what is with I also asked about the crucifixion. I said, the depiction of Christ on the cross, Jesus on the cross, is that how he actually was crucified? He goes, no. I said, is how the Romans do a crucifixion, it was, you take the cross, that looks like what we call a plus sign, and you turn it sideways. And this is after, and you basically take a rope tied to each wrist and leg, and you have the horses pull till they rip and then you nail them to the cross through the wrist, right? And through the foot. He goes, yeah. It's because the Romans were twisted bastards who wanted people to suffer until they died, slowly, horribly. They wanted it to last. He goes, yes. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So, now, I was like, okay, so the picture of his death isn't, so why glorify his death? He has no, you guys, he goes, I don't know. He goes, so this free will you gave people, is this what you envision people doing this to each other? What you're seeing in the world? The terrible things? He goes, that's on you. I don't make you do anything. Neither does Lucifer or Satan. Lucifer's still in his prison, by the way. Still locked up. And he goes, no, Satan has never possessed anyone. That's horseshit the Catholic Church came up with to make themselves seem important. bastards. He said also that, no, the Pope does not. Nobody who says they speak for God speaks for God. As it says, no man can speak for God. Also, no man can forgive your sins. Only God. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Because you are the creator. I said, it says in the Bible that you created the universe in, what was it, 7 days or something like that? He goes, no, it's the Big Bang Theory. Oh, so you believe in science? Because who wouldn't? Remember, the Catholic Church thought the Earth was the center of the universe. Yeah. Until they realized, it wasn't. I was like, okay. So, he clarified a few things. Said the Bible. I goes, Bible, are we supposed to just absolutely do what the Bible goes? Well, no. The Bible's there to help you figure out how to be a good person. Like going to a priest's confessing isn't to absolve you because he can't. It's to help you figure out how to be a good person. I go, oh yeah, that makes sense. So, man can absolve man of sin. Priests are there to help people figure out how to be good, and that's what the Bible is. It's a guidance. Okay, that makes a whole lot of sense. So, the whole thing with Job. Did you really think when you were placing that bet that he would? And he goes, yeah. Now, it says in the Bible that you and Satan had this conversation. Do they really run hell? Does Satan run hell? He goes, no. There is someone that runs hell, and it ain't the demons. No, there's an order to hell. Okay. Demons are in hell because they belong there. You go to hell, some of the most evil people become demons. But if you go to hell, it's ordered. There's order to hell. It's not chaotic like you think. Okay, and so I said, okay, that makes sense. And if I were to describe his voice, I just say this, it's very pleasant. It's like an easy voice to listen to. I mean, I'm not telling you what I heard. I wasn't expecting it. It came out of nowhere. I kept, I go, okay. And I said, so again, why me? Because you've suffered in life. I was like, oh. Well, he went through and said, yeah, you were born premature, fetal, alcoholism. You had a hammer in your head, the bees, the wasp, the black widow. You got molested 3 times. I said, yeah. You went through a window as a baby. You died. You've come back from the dead. And you tried to kill yourself. And as you found out, you can't kill yourself. You survived your suicide. That's why. I was like, oh, okay, that makes, And I go, so the original sin was disobedience. I said, okay, in the Torah it says that before there was Eve, you created the first woman, which was Lilith, the same way you created Adam. He goes, yeah. So is it true that Lucifer messed with her and turned her into the first demon of hell? And goes, yeah. So is that why, or was it he tried to overthrow heaven? Because he let pride get the better of him. Is that why he's in hell, is because of his own pride? He goes, yes. He said Satan represents wrath. He's the sin of wrath. Now, he's also a great liar. There's no such thing as possession. It's mental illness. Yeah, every time. The Catholic Church has lied to make themselves seem important, like when they did the Holy Crusades. And they didn't just target, he said, yeah, they didn't just target Muslims. They targeted Jews and Christians. People that were there. So the Crusades were evil. Yes, Catholic Church is evil. Do you see how they molest children? And yeah, I heard about that. This is the conversation, okay? So I said, oh, okay, so you are in fact God. you know everything. So I go, how's things up there? And he goes, oh, things are good. You know, everything's, running smoothly. So who runs hell? Well, he didn't tell me, but I go, well, if you're the God of heaven, is he the God of hell? And he goes, yeah. So it's not a demon that runs hell. Is he also, like, so does he decide where you go when you die? Yeah. So it's not Peter who decides. So does Peter read from the book of the your life, goes through your life, and then he decides after he reads at the great, he goes, yeah. Oh, okay. So Peter reads, goes through your life, and then then this the person who runs hell basically decides if you go to heaven, hell, or what's the third place? It says in the Bible it's purgatory. Is it much worse than purgatory? And he goes, well, there is a third, but he didn't want to go into it. It's much worse than hell. Ugh. Okay. So, I was like, okay, so how many people do you actually do talk to? And he goes, well, there's not that many, because most people don't bother to talk to God. They go to church and everything. I said, okay, so Jesus told people to be kind, take care of each other. He didn't preach in a building, so why do people go to church? That's on you. You built cathedrals and everything. It's like, so now, it said the seventh day you rest. Goes, that's Sunday. Why do people go? He doesn't even understand why people go on Sunday. I go, so they bother you on your day off? Well, he doesn't listen, by the way. So going to church on Sunday, you should go to church on Saturday. Because Sunday is his day off. It's Monday through Sunday. That's how it used to be. Before you all started, it's the weekend. You think he gets Sundays off. But you want to bother him on Sunday with all your, it's like the whole the Catholic Church's, communion. Here's the cracker that's supposed to represent the body of Christ. Think about that for a second. They want you to imagine you're eating Jesus. Don't you find that kind of messed up? And then they want you to drink wine as if it's his blood. So essentially, Catholic Churches, this cracker represents, so essentially they want you to be a cannibal vampire. That's messed up. Eat this cracker and imagine it's Christ's body. So people go, put it in, chew on it. So essentially you're supposed to imagine you're eating Jesus. Ugh. Oh God, that's messed up. And then drink his blood. This wine represents his blood. Oh God. That's messed up. So I said, okay. Then I was like, oh, that's great. So I started going, okay, I've never said this, so never talk about it. I was like, okay, so you don't just talk to God. I do. I talk to him about, he loves to have a conversation. Very, very acknowledgeable about stuff. Yeah, I talked about the Bible, about other stuff, and he just goes, the Bible is meant to guide you to try to be a good person. Everybody, as Jesus said, everybody can go to heaven if they repent. That doesn't mean going to a priest and confessing. They can't do anything for you. You have to talk to God. So, if you talk to God, he'll listen. Just don't do it on Sunday. It's his day off. He deserves a break. He deals with all your shit 5 days a week. Or 6. But he deserves a day off. It's hard being God. He has to deal with all types of crap. I mean, that's why he has, the guy who runs hell sort of deals with the punishment. I mean, punishing people. That makes sense. So, yeah. So there's a ruler of hell and it's not a demon. Oh. So exorcisms there are demons, but the exorcism shit is bullshit. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's why that German girl died. because she was mentally ill, not possessed. Oh, if you speak tongues, okay, speaking a foreign language, so that means everybody that speaks, like Japanese that speaks English, must be possessed by. That's how stupid that is. I mean, oh, I see so many fake Christians and everything. I have, why do they think if they say, I have Jesus in my heart, that I'm a good person, but you're not? I've seen enough fake Christians and everything, and the proof is how people react to what's going on in Palestine. And it's the same thing with Jews. Zionism has no religion. Anybody who can support what's going on in Palestine, you're a Zionist. If you recognize Israel as a legitimate place, it's not. Then you are a Zionist. That goes for any Jew that said, yeah, we should have a two-state. No, it's one country called Palestine. Send all the Europeans back to Europe or America. They don't belong there. Abolish the illegal occupation known as Israel and punish those who did it. Send them to Russia to be punished, because you ain't going to get anybody getting punished in The Hague. It's garbage. And then you give the land back to the Palestinians and help them rebuild. That's how you do. You stop the violence and you basically stabilize the Arab world. You know what happened? Everything would be fine. There's Palestinians, and if we we got out of the Arab world and let these people go home, you want to know something? You get a lot less tension in the world. But no, people want to kill each other. You have this innate ability to want to take and murder each other over the dumbest crap. It's not just murder, it's people who want to target people for saying stupid shit. Or like this company called Sweet Baby Inc. Oh, they put their gender politics and their racism in video games. Don't play the games. That's the simplest answer. Go bring it up, mention, and then leave them alone. Because if you keep targeting, you're no different than people that went after Gina Carano. See, I always find the people that say, I don't like what happened to Gina Carano, but want to have Catherine Kennedy fired. Or they were targeting George Lucas, over his prequels because when he announced he wanted to do a new trilogy, they didn't wait to find out what it was going to be. Or if he was going to direct it, they just went, no. Went on Twitter and went, he sells this company, they get Disney to own it, and then Disney makes their Star Wars, and they're like, and then they complain. This is what is so ironic about people that sit there and go, oh, I don't like this identity politics, but they didn't mind when the Batman movie came out and they race-swapped Commissioner Gordon, they race-swapped Catwoman. They were like, yes, we like that. And this is what so cracks me up about these people. It's, the same jackasses go, China, 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 China. It's like a broken record. You can't, like Scott Ritter said, you can't talk to these people, they're communist. Prejudice doesn't have, it's that whole thing. People, they get this need to go, oh, we're the best country. Your pride gets in the way, you don't realize you're doing the wrong thing. Sinners will never know they're sinners. So when I pointed out about, and I said this in the video about Aaron Bushnell, when he immolated himself, one person went on there, I'm not going to say her name, but she went on to say, oh, he's a demon. I said to her in a tweet, I said, how can you call yourself a Christian if you're calling him a demon? You are you're targeting this guy because of what he did, which makes you a Zionist. Understand it. When you say, okay, I don't care if people are gay. Do you really think God gives a crap about people, whether two men have sex? No. Because it's free will. He doesn't want you targeting children, but I promise you, and I'll say this once, he does not care about what two men do in their own bedroom or men wearing women's clothing. Now, taking children and forcing doing that stuff too, if you want to say you identify as a woman, you want to live as a woman, go ahead. I don't care. But this whole thing where you're going to target children. Now, if a parent says, hey, I want my son to wear dresses, that's the parent's right. It's not you have no right to get involved and say, hey, Jamie Lee Curtis, you can't put your son in that dress. If she wants to put her kid in a dress and he enjoys wearing a dress, let him. I don't care. It's not I'm not the parent. You know, I don't like when people who don't have kids. Worry about your own kids if you have kids. Don't worry about this or that or somebody else what they're doing with their kids. You know, that's up to God. It's not up to you to judge anyone. You know that whole saying, don't judge unless you want to be judged. Those who live in glass houses should not throw bricks. It's a saying. Don't point the finger at others when you have no right to point the finger. Like, oh, you know, Target saying Muslims, oh, the Quran, it says this about Muhammad. Who are you to say what somebody's religious beliefs are? Like, I don't like Scientology, but hey, you know, understand this, you could legitimately say all religions are a cult, because you get people extremists in any religion. Hell, you have Quran, you have people literally fighting over interpretations of the Quran. Same thing with the Bible. People interpret things differently. You tell a bunch of capitalists that Jesus was a socialist, and they, no, he wasn't. No, he didn't support capitalism. He said, take care of each other. He said, teach a man to fish, he can feed himself. He can also share his abundance with others. Share your wealth. At that time would have been fish. Make sure others are taken care of. Always help others. That goes against capitalism, by the way. And he told rich people, in order for you to get in heaven, you have to give your money away. You have to redistribute your wealth to other people. That's fundamental of, socialism, communism. Okay. You can't take your shit what would you do with all the money? And I don't want the money. See, I've accepted, I'm a disabled individual. I can't work anymore. I'm trying to make my life as comfortable as possible. I'm not asking people to give me any money. I'm on disability. I have Medicare, which is better than Obamacare. And I'll tell you, actually overall, I'm pretty content. I've seen what money does, people. It doesn't make you happy. Is Elon Musk happy? Is Jeff Bezos? All these rich people, are they happy? No, they're miserable because they can't fulfill the emptiness. That's what everything you're saying. When you target somebody and say, oh, you are wrong for saying that, you're judging them. You can't judge anyone. You have no right to judge anybody. You can't, because you are not God. So when you target somebody because you don't like what they say, so what if the lady runs Sweet Baby Inc. is a racist? She don't like white people. That's fine. I don't have to have anything to do with her crap. Her games, sure, let people know what games that her company worked on. Then don't buy those games, don't play those games. Let her know that you don't want anything to do with her racism. It's like this. Any business has a right to say who they want in. If they don't want disabled people, don't go there. If they say, oh, I don't want to do business with you because you're gay. Okay, then you go somewhere else. You have no right to push your stuff. It's like if a business doesn't have, let's say, a wheelchair accessibility, you have no right to tell a business they have to put a wheelchair ramp in. If they want to do that, that's fine. Now, the other thing, people interpret the Bible whatever weird way they want. I personally believe God doesn't care if you're gay. Jesus didn't judge anybody. You have no right to judge anybody. You are not a perfect person. There's nobody on this planet who's a perfect human being. We're all incredibly flawed. We all make mistakes. Everybody. This is what Jesus was talking about. Jesus believed heaven was open to everyone. As long as you repented to God and you were literally felt remorse and asked for forgiveness, heaven was open to you. That's including Adolf Hitler, you dumbasses. If Hitler talked to God and said, and he apologized because he did convert to Catholicism, he became a Catholic. If he sat down and apologized to God before he died and said, hey, God, I want to apologize for orchestrating the Holocaust. I was wrong. I feel terrible. God would hear that, and he would, if he felt that he was genuinely remorseful, and he would say, you're forgiven, and heaven would be open to Hitler. Yes, that's right. For all the people in Kanye West saying Jesus would love Hitler, Jesus didn't hate anyone. He had no hate in his heart for anyone, even evil people like the Jews who had him murdered. He wanted to show them wrong. They were wrong. What did he do? He came back, he showed them, and they repented, they apologized. And he said, no, I have no ill will towards you. And so what did he do? Some Jews converted Christians. Others followed him. And he said, there is no king, there is no homeland, there is the kingdom of heaven. I will return and bring my flock to heaven. That's what he said. He said there is no homeland for Christians. Christianity, like Judaism, doesn't have a homeland. There's places you can go, but there's no specific whole place where you can call this is where all... Yeah, it's not meant to be in one place. It's meant to be shared. People are supposed to share everything. Take care of each other. Be kind to each other. Not do what the world's doing right now. This is what's absolutely ridiculous. What's stupid about the world. All the people that go, I'm offended. A survivor of anything never says they're the victim. They don't. Martin Finkelstein will never tell you he is a victim of the Holocaust. Any actual person. I'm not talking to jackasses like Ben Shapiro or any of the people who run the illegal occupation, Zionist state of Israel. When they say, we're the victims of the Holocaust, actual survivors have never called themselves a victim. The ones who say they're a victim have never experienced it. They've never faced the Holocaust. But they want to jump on the bandwagon like Ben Shapiro and others say, you're victimizing us. No, you're the one trying to victimize the Holocaust. So you can feel like, I'm God's chosen people. Jews who survived the Holocaust don't consider themselves God's chosen people. They don't. They'll never tell you, yes, I'm God's, because they know that goes against Jesus. Because they don't follow God, they follow Jesus. Jesus Christ is their Savior. They wait for their King, Jehovah, which is Hebrew for Jesus, to come back and take them to heaven. Zionists will say, we're the victims of the Holocaust. You're targeting me because I'm a Jew. No, bitch. We're targeting you because you're a Zionist piece of shit who doesn't believe in God. You hate God. I figured this out. Those that are doing this genocide hate God. Zionists hate God. They've always hated God. That's why, when you look at it, when you say, hey, the Jews killed Jesus, they go, they love to pretend that we're the holiest people. No, you're not. Because you are not. You never have been. All you have to do is talk to God. Most people can't hear God because you aren't connected to Him. You have no real connection to Christ. You have no real connection to God because you are stuck in sin. You're living a heathenish life. Stuck in your sin of the 7 deadly sins. Pride won't let you admit you're a sinner. I have sinned. I have judged people, and I admit that. That's all it takes. And I realize I've been wrong to judge anybody. Because I have no right to judge anybody. I'm not perfect. I'm not God. And anybody says, and they see somebody and they go, look at that lady that said she hates white people. We have to judge her. We have to ruin her life. It's like the Amber Heard thing. All of these idiots who go, the Amber Heard lied. I'll say it. Amber Heard lied about Johnny Depp hitting her. That's all she did. Beyond that, I don't care that she injured. Johnny Depp killed River Phoenix by being a drug dealer. Yes. And he lied about his complicity in River Phoenix's death. River Phoenix died of a drug-induced seizure from the same combination of heroin and coke in his system. Just like what killed John Belushi. It's what killed, because John Belushi also, his girlfriend said after she injected him with the speedball that he couldn't inject, he suffered a seizure. The same thing that killed River Phoenix. Same thing that at Kate Moss's birthday party that this musician suffered. He survived because they realized what was going on. And I don't blame the bouncers. They thought River Phoenix was drunk when they tossed him outside. His brother called, somebody released the audio, and it's terrifying to hear. It's horrifying to hear his brother begging for the paramedics who don't get there in time. His brother died outside that club, the Viper Room. Well, Johnny Depp's on stage playing to the crowd while he's trafficking drugs that got young people hooked on drugs. Like, you know, yes, like Brad Renfro and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of young people looked up to Johnny Depp, and he got them addicted to drugs. But people are flawed. You can't judge somebody else. Hating Muslims because they're Muslims is stupid. This whole hate. Oh, we have to get rid of the Palestinians because we don't like them. You are no different than the Nazis. All genocides are based on the worst things about humanity. Not one of you is better than anyone else. I don't care. For a long time, men wore dresses. They wore skirts. Oh, the kilt. Yes, it's a skirt. You know why they wore them? Because it was easy to be able to just pull it up and go to the bathroom. And have sex. You don't have to undo your pants and drop them. You just lift the skirt up, boom, you have sex and it's over. This is why when you look at Muslims in places like Saudi Arabia, Iran, you know they wear this full, I'm not sure what it's called. It's white, and it's basically, it goes down to their, that thing. That allows them to stay cool because it's hot in the summer in the desert. So they wear this to keep themselves cool because air blows through. Otherwise, they get sweating all the time. So that's why they wear those things. Yeah. Look it. I don't care. If somebody wants to say, I identify, but if they live as a woman, that's fine. Most transgender people believe in the two genders. I don't like the people that say, well, J.K. Rowling should be put in prison because she doesn't agree that I'm a woman when you aren't really a woman. You're a man. Even, that's why they say transgender. Bruce Jenner, maybe Caitlyn Jenner, but knows that biologically he's a man. He says, I'm a transgender woman. That means I've transitioned my physical gender. I removed my penis and put a prosthetic vagina in, put breast implants. I now look like a woman. That's what transgenderism is. That's simply what it is. When you go through surgery to remove what you were born with, you're taking the sex organ you were born with and removing it. You can't undo that. Oh, you want to go back to being a man? You will never be a man. You gave that right up. That's why most transgenders will live as a woman, dress as a woman, and live that way. Because they don't want to do the surgery. You can't really undo. Once you remove your penis, you can't give yourself back a penis. Just like removing your uterus and your fallopian tubes and all that stuff. Once it's gone, it's gone. It's gone forever. And then what they do, they remove your labia, they remove your clit, and they use that on your prosthetic penis on the bottom. And they sew it up. And they basically make it look as though you never had a vagina. Kind of like if you look at Barbie. Yeah. So where do they put they put it where the women have where their urethra ends. Where when they pee, this is why women sit when they pee. Because this is why they have to wipe. Because when they piss, a lot of time, the pee goes down. Yeah, it goes down and gets down there in their vagina. And so they have to wipe it so that they don't get like a yeast infection. So nobody's perfect. Everybody makes Amber Heard made a bad decision to lie. But she couldn't help herself. Mentally ill. This is the world we live in. People are constantly passing judgment on people. Who are you to pass judgment on anyone? You aren't God. Who gave you that right? No one. No one gave anyone the right to say, oh, I don't like that person. And when you say China, 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 all you're saying is that you're a racist against people. You have never been to China. I've never been to China. I don't know anything. I know about China. But, it's a country has a party, a communist party. Okay. People there seem to be fine with it. Things are different in China. Just like in Russia. You have a system here. You have laws here that not the same in Russia and China. They don't care about like the First Amendment, free speech. In Russia, they would rather have their country be secured and safe from being broken up than they do about free speech. Talk to a Chinese person. Go to China if you don't like it, but you won't. You bigots will sit there and say, oh, China, China, China. China ain't doing it. What do they want from you? Oh, they were TikTok. We have to make them sell it or ban it because they're gonna spy. What will they want from you? Nothing. What, your porn collection? They want to look at all your porn or what? What do any of you have that China wants? Your debt? Nope. Your bonds? Nope. They don't want anything. They just want to sell you stuff. And that's it. They're not looking to steal anything. What would they steal from you? Your non-existing credit? Your debt that you have? Most people have debt. Oh, your shame. There's nothing China wants. So why would they put an app, by the way? Oh, it's going to spy on you. You get spied on in your own government, you idiots. You seem to be fine with it, with your code, with the smartphone you have. Well, guess what? It ain't the company that built it, China. It's the company that run these cell phones. Yeah, they can spy on you. Apple spies on their clients, all the people that own their products. Google does this. They all do it. All the corporations in America steal your data. That's why and they sell it off to make money. This is how they fund themselves. So complaining about China is stupid. China, China, China. China doesn't want shit from you. They want to be left alone. You won't leave them alone. You're trying to threaten them because they are going to reincorporate Taiwan physically back into the country. I say let them, but no. America interferes in an election, complains about Russia, when they actually installed an American, or he's either an American citizen or Japanese with a fake Chinese name. That's how this shit works. So ridiculous. You can't hear God because you're so wrapped in your own sinful lifestyle, you can't admit you're a sinner. Pride is the deadly sin because it means owning up to you're a sinner. When you sin, you have to admit it. Who are you going to go to? A priest? They can't do anything for you. What, tell you 10 Hail Marys? No, they can't give you absolution. Only God can. So you better start talking to God. And as far as this goes, this Bible right here, this is a book to guide you on the path to make the right decisions. That's all this is. Most of the stuff in here is probably exaggerated, like Noah's Ark. Or the fact that, God created the earth, heavens in in a week? No. The Big Bang Theory. He believes in science, by the way. So yeah. I talk to God. I talk to him. I listen to him. His son. Not hard to talk to God or Jesus. Hell, talk to any of them. They'll tell you that. Yeah. It's if you really truly believe Jesus is your Messiah, then why don't you talk to him? You can't because you really don't believe in it. You don't. You want to act like, it sounds great to say, I get atheists. They show me proof that God exists. Most people can't. They can't. Oh, well, look at what he built. They go, that was the Big Bang Theory. Yeah, God created the Big Bang Theory. That's how it works. He created all the universes. Yes. Holy crap. And you say it that way, then they go, it's really stupid how dumb people are, how ridiculous, stupid people interpret the Bible, or the Quran, or the Torah, or Buddhists, thinking that Buddha is constantly reincarnated into some sex offender. No, Buddha has never come back to Earth. Sorry, he hasn't. Why did he come back and have sex with children or fillet their penis like the Dalai Lamas have? They're complete frauds. That's another thing. Yeah, you guys just don't get it. Your money has no monetary value except for what you put on it. It's not real. It's a treasury note. It says right on there. Treasury note. It's a real messed up world we live in. And people are being killed because, oh, one group of people hates them. And when they try to resist, oh, people go, they're terrorists. Oh, they all must be wiped out. Okay, genocide. You think you're gonna get what? You're getting something out of this? Enjoy what comes next. See, this is the same shit with the Salem witch trials. Oh my God, they're a witch, and they stupid. Same with the Spanish Inquisition, or the Armenian genocide that the Germans funded, or the Gypsy genocide. Oh my God, these Gypsies are heathen. We have to genocide them. The Crusades, the Catholic Church Christian their crusades against the, Jerusalem, because they had to chase out the Jews, the Muslims, and so they can seize it for themselves. This is so messed up about the idea of religion. None of you really believe in God. The fake Christians always say, I have God, I have Jesus in my heart, like that means anything. You don't follow his teachings. Capitalists are the most idiotic people I've ever met. They think that Jesus was a capitalist. Yeah, individualism, no, he was a socialist, you fucking morons. He believed in taking care of each other. Take care of each other means take care of your homeless. Feed your homeless. Pick them up. Get them out of poverty. Take care of each other. If you take care of each other, then you'll thrive. Your country's collapsing because you don't take care of yourselves. Capitalism is the way America uses it. It's the same thing England, with the king running everything and taxing the poor. And the people at the bottom, why the people at the top don't pay any taxes, or hardly any nowadays. Unless the government doesn't like you, and then they send you a big tax bill like they've done to Elon Musk. Yes. Sorry about that. But yeah. It's just watching people sit there and talk about, oh, I believe in Jesus, Jesus is my Savior. I believe George Galloway when he says Jesus is his Lord, because he acts like a Christian. Yeah. Do you think God really gives a shit about two guys putting their dick in each other? No, he doesn't care if he... Why? Why would he care? You are free to choose how you live your life. As long as you don't hurt each other or you don't target children, he don't give a fuck if you want to put a dress on, you want to pretend to be a woman. He does not give a shit. This is you are the ones judging each other. I've done it. I admit I've judged people. And I shouldn't. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to fall for the sin of, let my pride get in the way. I say this. I don't have any ego. But I have in the past, and I admit this sin, this flaw in me. I used to, I did what everybody else did. Oh, that person is evil. When you look in the mirror, you're seeing yourself. It's like, the world's falling apart, and you're here bitching about the stupidest shit about some video game, or movie, or speech, like Vanessa Redgrave, when people booed her after she exposed AIPAC. They went, no, you can't say that about AIPAC. So they screamed each other and they booed her. It's a headache. We have the people of Estonia trying to rewrite history about Nazis. When Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union, Estonians decided to help get rid of their Jewish population. Yes, they systematically exterminated them. This is human nature. You do terrible things to each other and then you go, oh, I believe in God. You don't. Atheists are honest about it. They don't believe in God because they have no proof he exists. I No, I've heard God's voice. Like I said, I've talked to him. I didn't expect to hear that, but he talked to me. I get what Jesus was teaching. The Bible isn't an absolute perfect thing. There's stuff in there that's fabricated and lied about. To take this book, as the true gospel, you have to be, yes, there's stories written by Matthew, John, Luke. All the apostles wrote. They wrote their story down. Yes, that stuff you can actually take because they were there. But stuff about Noah's Ark was written by people after the fact. Of course they exaggerate. It sounds nice to go, gee, Moses saved humanity, saved the animals when God flooded the planet. But as science has proved, that would have been an impossibility. It's like a bottle. When you know a Coke bottle, and you have the air here and you have the soda. That's the same thing. All that pressure when you open it, you undo, open it, you hear the tsh. Well, think about that. Shake that up. Yeah. But that will happen with an entire boat of animals and a man and his family. They would have all been cooked. They wouldn't exist. But instead it's a deluge. Things always get exaggerated to make a point. The Bible is to guide you through your life. So is the Torah. So is this. People interpret things how they want. And people judge each other and they go, oh, we have to stop this person, we have to stop that person. Instead of letting people live their life, we have to invade countries. Point the finger at yourself for being evil, for allowing this to happen. Yeah. So people can't hear God because you're not connected to him. If you talk to God, he would hear you. But you don't. Instead, you say, I am this, I am that. I don't like you because you put on women's clothing, you pretend to be a woman. Oh my God. The shock and horror of the free will humanity has to do what they want. You treat each other like you are prejudiced against each other. You are. Human beings love to target themselves. You purposely. Why? I will never understand this about humanity. You got the freest will to do what you want. You want to systematically murder each other. Because you have this need to get rid of yourselves. Because it seems that you really do hate God. God doesn't hate you. Jesus don't hate you. But you seem to hate God. Or you wouldn't be doing the terrible things and come up with the lamest BS to excuse your murderous intent. See, I look at like Jeffrey Dahmer when he stood up in front of the court after his sentence, before when he got to tell the family, he made it very clear, I didn't choose them because I hate black people. I chose them because the cops would do nothing. They were racist. He knew they would enable his behavior, so he did. So yeah, you have this whole need to judge. Oh, I don't like this. I'm going to stop you. I'm going to get you fired. You are not one person on the planet has a right to judge anyone else. Now, you can judge Zionists because I don't give a shit because they're committing a genocide. But to go and say, oh, I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like him. But do I hate Donald Trump? No. Am I going to, will I comment on stuff he says? Absolutely. Will I target him and harass him? No. I don't have the time to give a fuck about Donald Trump. I have other things I'm doing, like making this video, or watching YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch Garland Nixon. I watch Richard Medhurst. I watch George Galloway. I watch Scott Ritter. I watch Danny Haiphong, Brian Berletic. Smarter people than me. Gerald Horton. I listen to him when he goes on Garland Nixon's podcast. And they put the video, they put a clip from it. And I listen to him. And I listen to Judge Andrew Napolitano when he talks to you. And I make this joke that Ray McGovern makes me think of Papa Smurf, and that Larry Johnson makes me think of Brainy Smurf. Yes, When I think of Ray McGovern, immediately pops in my head is Papa Smurf. And it's a compliment. I love the Smurfs. I grew up on them. Same thing with Larry Johnson. He's smart. I call him Bernie Smurf. Yeah. There's smart people out there that get what's going on. Max Blumenthal, I read, I do go to the Gray Zone. I read a lot of what he has printed, and it's opened my eyes, things I didn't know what's going on. I watch his podcast he does with Aaron Mate, a Canadian Jewish journalist. Max he's talked about being in Gaza. He's gone there, he's lived there, he's talked about it. You know, you have a guy who's an Armenian Syrian who now lives in Germany. I can't pronounce his name, but I follow him. I watch his videos, and he's very informative. Richard Medhurst did a whole thing where he talked about what's known as Palestine. I knew about the Zionists helping the Nazis, complicitly helping them exterminate the Jews. I didn't know about Poland helping Hitler until he invaded Poland or any other, Sam. I go, who are you judgmental motherfuckers have a right to judge anybody? Everybody is flawed. Everybody makes mistakes. Know that, what is it? Don't judge unless you want to be judged. Only God can judge you and decide if you're good or bad. Isn't that how it's supposed to go? Oh, wait. Or is there a guy, someone else, who actually decides, like a king of hell? Because God has other things to do. God isn't going to intervene and save you. You have to save yourselves. Stop killing each other. Learn to work together. Your hatred of other people based on their race or ethnicity, it's so ridiculous. The labels we give each other. Just so we can actually be racist to each other. Instead of being human beings that's our race. We are human. We created these categories. White people, Caucasians, Africans, Asians, Europeans. It's ridiculous. Oh, there's Jews, Muslims, Christians, atheists. Just dumb. You attack people. I remember when people attacked Jake Lloyd over playing Anakin, to the point they sent death threats to his family. FBI got involved. He's starting to do better now. I saw Geeky Sparkles talk about that. Jake Lloyd still loves Star Wars, even after the way he was treated. Yeah. But this is humanity. This is you. And I'm not being pessimistic. I'm being realistic. I'm not depressed. I don't want to kill myself. I understand what God wants. I understand it. I do. I have had time to reflect on this, and I realized when he said he wanted me to watch. I get it. Bear witness to what man does. I am one of those people that is meant to record, brain or whatever. Or we're the eyes of God looks through us to see what's going on. Yeah. So, I do believe God talked to me. I do believe God talked to me because he didn't sound like somebody evil. He sounded actually had a wonderful voice, quite pleasant to listen to. But I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life. I'm not speaking for God. I'm just telling you my experience. And tell other people about this. Have them watch it. Usually the meek, as they say, or the wounded, or people that have survived terrible things are usually the ones that are closest to God. Because just like his son, because his son died on the cross. His son went through, and he came back. That's why I think they say that people have been through trauma, some form of trauma, and have survived, are closer to God because we understand what Jesus went through. You can watch Passion of Christ, but unless you've experienced something, you really can't connect to that and go, oh, I get it. It's like when being half Irish, the Irish understand what's going on. Gaza understand when people are oppressed because they're still, in a way, Northern Ireland is being controlled by the government instead of giving it back to, like Poland giving back German land to it, to Germany. Yeah, we live in a better world if people learn to take care of each other and give a shit instead of complaining about stuff that doesn't matter. Oh, look at if you don't like if you don't like the what is it, Madam Web, don't see it. I didn't. I saw the trailer and said, "What the hell is this movie?" It looked like shit. I've seen the worst film ever. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and Exorcist Believer are both equally dog shit. Yeah. So, I've been talking for a while, and it's like, yeah, this whole thing of people thinking, oh, I have Jesus. No, you don't. You have no connection because you're so invested in your following the 7 deadly sins, you haven't even admitted your sin. Priest can't absolve you of sin. The Pope is a piece of shit. He is not the emissary of God. He doesn't speak for God. He wouldn't know what God sounds like. God doesn't talk to. He doesn't waste his time on people like the Pope. That's why he talks to people who have been through stuff and survive. So yeah, you're supposed to follow, take care of each other instead you want to kill each other. Yeah, that's why it was surprising when I said, I suddenly heard God's voice after my suicide didn't happen, and he explained, well, let me kill myself, but he can kill me. And because I've suffered in life, I'm meant to witness, because I can understand what Jesus wanted people to do. I'm not speaking for God or Jesus, but I understand. The ideas of taking care of each other, supporting each other, is a fundamental, take care of each other, be kind to each other. No, but we want to kill each other, we want to be judgmental. Oh, who are you to judge anyone? I said this before. You have no connection to God or Jesus because you can't. Because you can't get past your prejudice, your jealousy, or your envy. That's what this all starts with. All atrocities begin because somebody had it out for another because of jealousy. It's real simple. People hating on China are jealous of their success. It's the only reason to do and say the things you say. Yeah, so I feel that God talked to me, and like I said, my birth is proof because I should not be here. With all the things I've been through, you guys, most of you couldn't go through what I've been through, and you'd probably kill yourself. But I haven't. Even though when I did, I couldn't. But the fact is, I'm here now. And I'm not depressed, I'm optimistic. And really, we've been, as a country, through this whole thing with what we're seeing. We've been through it. We have overcome it. We go through these so often, you forget. Humanity will always make terrible decisions. It's how you correct yourself. Stop making terrible decisions. Like the whole thing with the Zionist state of Israel. Get rid of it. Give the Palestinians back their land and rebuild it for them. That's how you make things right. Doing what you're currently doing is only causing things to get worse. And Donald Trump's no solution. He's worse. Because in reality, he'll see anything to get the White House. But do I think that Donald Trump cares about his own family? No, Donald Trump's a narcissist. He only cares about himself. So yeah. And I thought the only song that should have won for Best Original Song was I Am Ken from Barbie. That was Ken. Ryan Gosling was the best thing about that movie. I hope if Stallone does redo Rambo that he does. He said that Ryan Gosling would be his choice to play Rambo. Because he said he is a fan of Rambo. That's why. See, I appreciate what Eric July is doing with this company, the Soska sisters. They're working on comics. They're building a comic empire. Something, he decided to do with his money. Now, you can do your own thing or give up. But yeah, people, you cannot save. You have to save yourselves. You have to decide to talk to God. The only way you can get saved is to confess your sin directly to God. A priest can't help you. So I'm just going to close out with that. This is Gilgamesh. I will talk to you later. Bye.